Fishing like a local isn't just about catching fish. It's about connecting with the environment and the people who call it home. It's about hearing the stories and traditions that have been passed down for generations and sharing unforgettable moments with the people you meet along the way. Fishing like a local is having an experience that stays with you forever. And with Fishing Booker, you can experience it too, no matter where you are. Discover your next adventure on Fishing Booker.
When you love meat, you find a way to take it with you everywhere you go, especially when it comes to getting outdoors. That's why Smithfield has so many high-quality, delicious meats that are perfect for any outdoor adventure. Whether the park you're headed to is a national park or just the one down the street, like Smithfield marinated roasted garlic and cracked black pepper fresh pork tenderloin, expertly seasoned for on-the-go flavor, or prime fresh smoked ham that'll have you building on-the-go sandwiches packed with flavor. Smithfield extra meaty back ribs bring hand-selected perfection to the backyard, and Smithfield Anytime Favorites will help you take the ham you savor to the places you love. From diced ham that'll turn any picnic into an outdoor feast, to hickory smoked boneless ham steaks that are the perfect cap to any hike. The great outdoors just got greater with Smithfield. For the love of meat.
Hey everyone, thanks for listening to the Western Hunting Hub podcast. Shed hunting season is over for most of us, but some of us are still rolling with it. I'm done, but this is a great episode to check in with Weston from Rise and Shed on what he does year round. See kind of what his summer shed hunting looks like, fall shed hunting, and he does it year round, so almost year round. So it's really interesting to get some motivation to not quit shed hunting and to go find some more. He had some really good advice on how he attacks his season, and a great episode with Weston, so give it a listen.
All right, Weston, I want to thank you for coming on the Western Hunting Hub podcast, and been following your Instagram page and watching a few YouTube videos here and there when I find myself on YouTube, and that's where I kind of found you, seen you do some different things, and yeah, just wanted to have you come on and just chat a little shed hunting this episode. So appreciate you coming on, and if you wouldn't mind, just introduce yourself, who you are, and your channel, what you do, what you're about.
Okay. No, thank you for having me on. I appreciate it very much. But I'm Weston MacArthur. I am the owner of Rise and Shed. I have all the social media outlets, mostly on Instagram and YouTube the most. But I do have a TikTok, but I'm getting sick of that because every time I post shed content, they take it down because they say it's harmful or something like that with animals. Gosh. So yeah, kind of getting ridiculous. But yeah, basically I create outdoor content. I go on shed hunts. I do my own hunting, big game hunting, do a little bit of fishing here and there. And I also film and edit for a TV show called Hunt Wars. So kind of dabbling into that whole thing and just trying to make myself better and try to produce better content for everybody else that watches the channel. But it's been a fun little journey. I've been doing Rise and Shed. It'll be 5 years in July. So I've, gone out on my own, took the leap. And like I was telling you earlier, I was blue collar worker, did cell phone towers, did a little bit of excavation, and then kind of got tired of working for the man, and I wanted to build something for myself. And so the outdoors is my happy place. This is what I love to do. And, it's just kind of crazy that I kind of made it my career, my profession, and I love what I do. So kind of got the best of both worlds.
Awesome. Yeah. I forgot about Hunt Wars. It's kind of a big one, but kind of a lot going on there as well. Are you, tell us a little bit about that, because there's, and where people are finding that, and kind of what you guys got going on. I'm assuming you're getting ready for the upcoming season and getting teams together. And it's kind of a unique, totally different thing you don't see very often. And what's that all about?
So it is a hunting competition show. So if you go on huntwars.com, you can go apply. We actually just closed for season 4. We actually had a live drawing at the Baku Archery Center over in Weber. And so basically you sign up. We have an interview process because we do want to make sure we're bringing people on that are ethical, like we want to get them in front of in front of us and make sure that they're, going to be good for the show. And honestly, we haven't turned anybody down yet. So everybody we've chose and interviewed, they've all been on the show. So it's all worked out great that way. So basically you get put into awesome unit, and we've kind of changed it up a couple times, but we have some hunts that we've gone back to just because we enjoy the area, and it's just, it's a fun environment. So yeah, we will choose our contestants, put them in an area. It's fully paid for. And the only thing that you pay for is your way out there and your way home. We cover your tags, we cover food, we cover lodging, all that stuff. So it's based off score. So it's the total inches of antler. You add up all the points that way, and then age is worth double. And then we have a shot yardage deduction. So like between rifle and archery hunting, it just depends on the yardages. So like with archery, 0 to 40, no deduction. I think it's like 40 to 60 is a 10-point deduction, 60 to 80 is 20, and then 80 and above is a 30-point deduction. So we also want to be ethical in that way, and make sure you're getting in close to animals. And like I said, age is worth double. And so you combine all that together, and the highest score wins. And so that's kind of what we've been doing. Like I said, we're doing season 4 this year, and I've been there since the very beginning. So it was actually kind of funny. Troy, who is the owner of Hunt Wars, that had the idea of it, reached out to me through Instagram. He had seen some of my stuff, and he's like, "Hey, I'm throwing an idea at you." And so we talked about it. And when he said he wanted to make it a TV show, dude, I had no idea what to do with a TV show and editing and all that behind it. And I was like, I can't help you there, but I do want an opportunity. I would love to help you film. And if you find a production company, awesome. Like, I would just love to be there and have the opportunity. And actually didn't hear from him for a while. And 3 weeks before the competition, calls me up. He's like, "Hey, you ready to go to New Mexico? We're going to go film some bulls." I was like, hell yeah, let's do it. Let's roll. And so those guys have actually been so awesome. I feel like it's a paid internship in a way, just because they've taught me so much with editing. They've taught me so much with camera gear and just all the settings and stuff like that. So I've been learning at Hunt Wars, and then I kind of try to transition it over to my own personal stuff, like some of the stuff that I've learned. And Britt and Will are just amazing with what they do. They're the production company, and it's just crazy what they can create and the feel that they bring to their show and stuff. And honestly, I love it. It's a blast. Every single time I've gone out, it's a good time.
So you're there with the hunters, filming for the hunters.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so it's because you see some of those competitions where you have the hunters. It's a lot about I don't know if they're still doing some of those, where it's about their film and as well the filming that they do. And that's a competition in itself and creating a quality film. But it's just the hunting. It's just the hunting. Yeah, they're putting in the work, and I'm assuming man, if you're the camera guy, how often are they wanting to lean on you? Just with like, "Hey, what do you think about this? What do you think about this?"
Like, don't get me wrong, just because I do have experience hunting, like I grew up hunting. And so like, I feel I have a pretty good head on my shoulders when I'm out in the hunting woods. So there definitely have been times where a hunter has asked me, "What do you think about this?"
Yeah.
And like, I'm not really supposed to help, but there's just that instinctual thing that's like, "No, we gotta go. Let's do this." Like,
yeah.
So yeah, definitely I've chimed in. Let's put it that way.
Yeah,
and I feel like we all have. Like, I feel like that's just human nature. Like, when you get asked a question, you gotta go.
Yeah. And if you had a big bull on the end of that decision, it's like, what are you gonna do? Just not say something like, "I know that bull's gonna go to the right there. We got to get above, or he's gonna wind us." Do some kind of weird movement. It would be hard to just allow it to fail. Like,
oh yeah,
it's like you're saying, human nature. It's important to, help each other out. You want to see people successful. So,
Absolutely. No, and there's definitely times like being the cameraman, like I want to be the one behind the gun or behind the bowstring and stuff, and it's hard for me to film sometimes. And I don't know if you've seen any of the Hunt Wars episodes,
Yeah.
but I actually got to, if you saw the episode where the guy is crawling in at the two bull elk that are fighting each other, dude, I was losing my mind in that moment. Just, it was so badass. And we have freaking Dustin crawling in on these two bull elk just going at it. And you can actually hear me giggle like in the camera, because I was like, oh my gosh, this is happening right now. Like, this is so cool. And then obviously it ended up as he was crawling, his broadhead had fell off the arrow because he was going through tall grass and he was using his bow, like trying to stay low. And unfortunately, he went to draw and noticed that the broadhead had fell off his arrow. And then by that time, the bulls were kind of aware of him, kind of spooked off. And then because he was, breathing so hard, he had ranged above the bulls and hit the trees in the background. And so he tried to get in even closer. But when he ranged, he probably could have made a very good shot on the bull, because even in the film, like you can see it, it looks like he's like 30 yards away from these bulls. And I was just like, okay, like stop, all right, shoot, come on.
Oh my gosh.
So I mean, there's definitely those moments while you're filming. I've had some incredible experiences out there just being behind the camera, and there's definitely kind of that feeling of just like, man, I kind of would have done this, or I would have done this different. But everybody has their own way of hunting, and I've actually learned quite a few things from our hunters too, from our contestants. So it's actually been a pretty cool little deal for me.
So has camera work, and it seems like camera folks, photography folks, like that's a love and a skill. For some others, you kind of fall into it and they're doing their thing. I am a absolute zero camera work. I don't do a single thing. I don't want to I have an audio based YouTube channel, and the only video is not this interview, so I didn't even close my cabinets behind me. but some videos go on YouTube, but I don't do a single thing. Is video been a part of kind of your love of sharing the outdoors for a long time, or was that just an avenue to do that?
I think it was more, it does make sense. Like, don't get me wrong, I always loved watching films. Like I love when people can take raw footage and build a film where somebody can feel an emotion or connect with that and resonate with that. I love that aspect of film. And that's something that I try to do and try to get better at as I keep doing this. Like I try to increase my production value. And trust me, I don't make the best videos. I already know that. But it is kind of a challenge every time you want to get better. And that's something else that I love about it. But that was kind of the thing that started for me is I was actually just barely married, sitting in the living room watching Eric Chester's Firebolt video. And that video honestly got me hooked on YouTube. I was like, man, if like somebody can create a video and I'm so drawn into this video, why can't I do that? Why can't I share my experiences and my adventures? And that's honestly where it all started. And it took me 2 years to finally start a YouTube channel after that. So I started my YouTube channel in 2016. And honestly, it was kind of just a hobby. I would just try to get out on the weekends, try to go shed hunting anytime that I could. And it kind of just built into from being a hobby. And then people started asking for merch. And then people started asking for more videos. And then it kind of just steamrolled itself into what it is today. And like, trust me, when I started, I had no plans of doing this full time. It was just a hobby. And then, I kind of saw light at the end of the tunnel, and I started gaining a little bit of traction and people were buying my stuff. And I was just like, I could potentially do something with this. Like, this is actually kind of cool. Like, and the fact that I love the outdoors, this is like my passion. This is where, it's like, this is where I feel home, like I love the outdoors. I love just being out there, breathing fresh air, just listening to the wind, nature. I love to just take it all in. And so honestly, it just kind of all rolled up together and it just went kaboom. And I
Hmm.
just started going with it. And like I said, I got tired of working for the man and I wanted to build something for myself. And I wanted something that I could, prove to myself that I could do. And have there been bumps in the road? Absolutely. Yeah, there's a lot of learning curves when you create your own business. And if you don't work, you don't make money and like your family suffers. And so, and that's the other thing too, is I have a 1.5-year-old daughter named Meadow, and having her like just lit a whole new fire inside of me. And it's crazy just how kids will do that to you though. Like obviously I want to do that for my wife and for myself anyway, but just having that little girl, dude, it was like a whole new fire came out.
Yeah, I remember your videos when she was born, and some of the things you've posted on that. Just turn your world upside down in a good way.
Oh
And
yeah.
you shared that along the way. How many years have you been full time doing this?
So I'll be 5 years in July.
Oh wow. So you were saying like my videos aren't the best. I mean, they're you're doing this full time, so you got to give yourself credit for that. But you're also filming shed hunting, which
Yeah.
is hard. I would imagine that is hard to film you walking around and nobody with you, or if someone else is with you, they're over there doing looking over there. So that's a hard thing to create a story for. So are you what's going in your mind on like creating a story for, let's say, a Wyoming trip and going to, or Arizona, you're headed to Arizona. What kind of story are you looking to tell, or just show, hey, this is what we did and this is what we found and we had a good time doing it? Or what kind of goes through your head and your planning in that?
Honestly, bro, I wing it a lot of the time, and it probably shouldn't be that way, but I honestly just wing it. And don't get me wrong, as I do this more and the more, I guess, value that I want to create, I want to be more educational. So there are certain things that I want to like point out, like whether it's elevation, the type of terrain, like I want to start adding certain factors into my videos that obviously help other people find sheds too, because that's honestly what I need to be better at, is creating a storyline that way and being more helpful and mindful about other people to help them out along the way as well. But going into it though, it's like you do a whole bunch of e-scouting. I'm partnered with Scout to Hunt, so I'm on Scout to Hunt looking at my maps, and we'll pick a spot that just, like, I guess after you do it for so long, you can just look at terrain and you're like, there's sheds there. There has to be sheds there,
Yeah.
but there are definitely are those times that you get skunked and you put in a 14-mile hike and you get skunked. And that does happen. But I've been fortunate enough that I also have buddies that, I've met through social media and stuff, and they want to share spots. I'll share spots. And so we go to an area, where we're bound to find something.
Yeah.
But as far as planning goes, I honestly just kind of wing it. And I know I need to get better at it too in that aspect, because I also get kind of caught up in the moment. Like there are times that I'm just like, do I really have to pull out my phone right now, or really have to pull out the camera and film this? Like, I just want to live. I just want to be here. I just want to do this in the moment. So there is still even that battle, even to this day, when I'm out on shed hunts, that's like, man, I just want to hike. I just want to go for a hike. I don't even want any type of device on me. I just want to hike. And so, yeah, I there are definitely those days still, but I wish I could be more helpful that way. But yeah, I don't really plan anything out.
No, and I'm finding too, even I need to be careful with how I plan episodes, because I think I want to get something out of it, and then the conversation goes into something that I don't, it's like I can't plan what I'm going to learn if I don't know what I'm going to learn. And you don't know what you're going to learn or find. So it's probably that same kind of deal where you just, some of that has to happen. You just don't know. Like if you've seen, what's Cam Hanes' new video he just put out, the with Shockey,
Brandon
with
Shockey,
yeah
the Wolves.
Yes, We Were Wolves.
Yeah.
Like that wasn't named, and I listened to his podcast on that, where it wasn't named and the storyline really wasn't determined of what the takeaway was until after that whole thing went down. It's like they didn't know they were going to have a charging Grizzly. They didn't know he was going to make a bad shot. Who would think the campaign's going to make a bad shot at not very far away? It wasn't a bad shot. It was dead bear eventually, but they had to finish it off with a gun. And he was so devastated with that. But the storyline of what happened in there developed at a later time. And yeah, we just don't always know what we're going to get. So yeah, I get you there. Changing direction though. How'd your shed season? Well, you're going nonstop, but that's the funny thing is for a lot of hobbyist shed hunters like myself, I got a shed season. I'm going out, and we don't have a shed season here, a legal shed season. So I love March for hiking around. March is like gorgeous most of the time. We couldn't get over winter here, and neither could you. But we had March is usually a great month to hike, and then April for elk, and maybe if you're adventurous, you keep going into May for elk. But otherwise, it's a 2-month thing for a lot of guys, and they're done. Would you say that is maybe still the peak of your season, or is it just the same kind of thing throughout?
Well, this year was kind of different just because Utah had a shed closure again.
Right.
So I was going out of state during March and April, and I usually do make those trips anyway, but that was my only option. I had to go to Arizona or New Mexico because those are the only open states that I'm close to. But for the most part, I would say March through the end of May is my actual, I go hard. Like I'm doing it every week, multiple days a week. And yeah, I would say March through May is my actual season. But we just went out last week because we had 2 days that were 60 degrees. And so we took advantage of that, tried some new area, and it actually paid off. One of our buddies actually picked up he's broken 360 set, but we're figuring he's missing like 20 inches. So it was a giant set. And then the second day got into a whole bunch of deer sheds and tried another new place. So that's honestly what I like to do as well. Like when it starts to get hotter and I'm not going out as much, I'll start to hit new areas just because you hit those areas that are your prime areas first. And then you just try to branch out. And if I can find new honey holes in, the hotter months and stuff like that, that's just awesome because I know going into next year, I'm going to be focusing on those areas too. So, but yeah, I would say March to May really is my actual shed season. I don't do much in June and July. Like I said, if we can catch a cool day, I'll go out then. And then August, since I actually have my very first archery mule deer tag here in Utah, I'm going to be putting in a lot of time scouting. That's something that I want to do. Like my goal this year with hunting is I want to tag out on a mature buck. That's with my bow. That's my number one goal this year is a mature buck. And then I'll get the archery tag for elk here as well. And then I have Colorado 3rd season rifle. And I also have the Arizona over-the-counter archery tag as well. So I still have 4 tags in my pocket right now. But once hunting season comes around, shed hunting does kind of take a back seat. And then I'll be filming for Hunt Wars as well. So if I'm not filming for Hunt Wars, I'm definitely going to be hunting for myself because I have some goals that I want to accomplish.
That's a good balance to be able to, because it gives you that break. You don't want to not like shed hunting anymore. I mean,
I don't think that could ever happen.
That's good.
I love it way too much, man.
That's good. And then same for me is just work is hunting. My business is hunting. My podcast is hunting. and it's just nonstop hunting related stuff. And I get you. I don't get tired of it. I like mixing it up though sometimes.
Absolutely. Yeah,
That's
I'll
where the
throw in some
fishing comes
yeah,
in.
exactly. I'll throw in some ice fishing in like December and January and stuff. And then, when it's blazing hot in July, yes, we'll go do some lake fishing and whatnot and, hit a couple rivers. But I'm not like huge into fishing. I'm not, I guess, very good at it. I'm the old school throw out a bobber and just sit in a lawn chair and wait for something to bite.
Yeah. I could do a little spear fishing this weekend. I tried it the
Oh,
other day. Oh my gosh. There's not very often do I have a new activity that is something I've never done before in the outdoors. Like I feel like I've tried a lot of things. I'm not the master at anything, but I've tried a lot. But I had no idea what to expect, and I went with somebody and they showed us how to do it, and we were shooting rock bass and some northern, and it was a riot. And now
are you snorkeling while you do this?
yeah.
Oh, wow. Yeah,
And you just dive down or stay on the surface and you shoot them, and it's so much fun. I had no idea. And I always thought like, oh, that's dangerous. You got to dive down 20 feet. I hate the pressure on my ears. It's not comfortable. But we have a really beautiful lake here, just in the hills, super clear. And then the Missouri River is where I'm going to go this weekend over the 4th of July. And I guess that's another mecca for the state of South Dakota anyway, places to go spearfishing. So it's me and my wife are going to try it out and see what we can do. But then we don't have to worry about the fish biting. It's like, can we find them? We can shoot them.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just
well, I wish you guys luck on that. That actually sounds like a riot.
I've been telling all my buddies, like, you got to try it. I know it's like, you don't know what you're doing, but you got to find a way to try it somehow. And it's yeah. So if you ever get that opportunity, give it a shot. I'm not in the mode to showing anybody how to do it quite yet.
I actually
someday
had a buddy hit me up and he wants to go out. There's a
take
lake
him
in
up.
Nevada. Yeah, I'm going to. Now that you just said that, I'm definitely going to
do it. Yeah.
Have you ever done the what do they call it? Bow fishing? Have you ever tried that?
Yeah. That gets pretty big on the eastern side of South Dakota because we get in the springtime, we need a lot of flooding and the carp just fill the ditches. And it's a really good place to do that. We got lots of big mouth buffalo and common carp to shoot. So, and you can do that not having to be in a boat, because that's the other tricky thing. Can be gear heavy, needing to be a boat with lights and going at night and that sort of thing. So I've only ever done it like at spillways. You go over a spillway and you can see all the carp swimming around and shoot them. It's kind of fun.
What would you rather do, bowfish or spearfish?
Oh, I do spearing.
Yeah.
All
right.
Yeah, because you
already got me convinced.
Yeah, because I'm gonna go chase walleye, spearfishing.
Oh
wow. And smallmouth. I love eating smallmouth. I love eating walleye. And there's probably some perch. There's white bass. I'll eat white bass all day. So those are fish to eat. And
gotcha.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I know you can make a carp taste good, but
no thanks.
It's not a walleye. Not a walleye by any means. So before we move on, I do notice I have got a timer on here. It says 1.5 minutes left. I don't know what that means. I paid for the whole subscription, so if we get booted off, we'll restart it. So I don't know what that's all about. Like I said, I'm not too techie yet with my Zoom stuff.
No, you're good.
So yeah, you got your hunting season goals. When you approach a shed season or the beginning or a new year after the winter time, are you able to set some goals? Like, what do you like to do for setting goals on shed hunting? And what was this year? What's this year?
This year I wanted to find 300 sheds. That was just a shot in the dark number. Let's just see. And I mean, there's definitely been years I've found more. I don't really count anymore, but just the fact that Scout to Hunt actually has a shed log on their app, I can actually track what all I found this year. And so far I'm literally at like 50%. I have like 150 sheds out of the 300. So I need to up those numbers. And most of them actually came in the month of May. Like my month of May was redonkulous. Like found a lot of sheds in the month of May. Let's put it that way. And then, but as far as goals go, I just obviously you always want to find 400 to 200. That's just, I don't know. Like for me, that's the pinnacle is 400 for elk and 200-inch for deer. And that's always the goal. But I'm not really ever hiking premium units though either. I actually like to hit a lot of the outskirts of premium units just because those premium units just, I honestly don't like competition when I'm shed hunting because shed hunting to me is not a competition. Like I'm out there to have fun, enjoy my time out there, and have a good time with my buddies. And that's the other thing about me. I hate going solo. Hate going solo. I always have to have one more person with me. I had a incident one time where I was solo, truck broke down, and Wes had a very long hike out in the dark, and it was a little sketchy for myself. And I just promised myself right then and there, I'm like, I'm never going by myself ever again. Like, this is stupid. And, you know, like in case there was like an accident or some type of emergency, dude, if you're out there in the backcountry, you break a leg or something like that, good luck, you know, unless you have like a device that you can hit that SOS and get some help out there. But in a lot of the places that I go, we don't have service out there. So I would seriously just be so screwed if I didn't have somebody else with me.
Yeah.
So, but kind of got off track there. But for goals, for the most part, it's just I want to find bigger than I found before, you know.
Yeah.
That's mostly the goal. I don't really have like I want a 7-point set that has this much mass. I don't do those type of goals.
Yeah. Mine is always I want to find an elk set side by side, or I want to find in my goals are about 1/10 of what yours are for numbers. But bring it down to more manageable numbers for the guy not doing it full time for sure.
Exactly.
And like I got a season, so you hit 150 in just what somebody would call a long season, I'm sure. So and covering ground and traveling, so hitting just finding a few for somebody is a big deal. Finding 5, 10, 15, 20, 30 is a good season for a lot of people.
Absolutely.
So, but yeah, always trying to find I think my goal for next year is going to have to be finding a good number of brown deer. Just like maybe I'm losing my eye for them. I posted a video this last year of just a bunch of chalk. It's like, I think I'm colorblind to the brown deer. I don't know where they're at. All I can pick up is these white ones. And I know these brown ones are right here somewhere. I'm walking right past them, but man, you got to have an eye for it. And do you think there's a question that's just popping in my head now? Do you think as you do this more and more, you're getting better at it? Your eyes are getting trained into seeing that better? Or do you think some people just have a knack for it?
I definitely feel the longer I have shed hunted, the better I have got at it. 100%. And I would say I glass up probably 65 to 70% of the sheds that I find. I love getting on a big vantage point and glassing my little butt off. And yeah, I find a lot of sheds glassing. And, you know, I've almost got to the point too when I'm glassing and I have another buddy with me and like, oh, come look at this. Check it out. I'm like, this is sick, you know, but don't get me wrong. It goes both ways. There's been times where it's like, I don't know about that. Like, and it'll be, you know, 1,000 yards away. It's like this little white speck. And I'll tell my buddy, like, hey, there's something out there. And he's like, dude, you're an idiot. Like, there's no way that's a shed. And there have been times that it's been a shed, but there have also been times it was just either a piece of bone or a stick or something like that. But I do feel the more you go shed hunting, you definitely get an eye for it. Absolutely. And there are definitely people that just have a knack for it. But I feel the more you do it, you definitely get an eye for it. And like that's even looking for spots though too. The more you do it, you can literally just go on a drive with your family and just know you're in shed country. You can just look at it, you can look at the vegetation, you can look at the terrain, check and see what elevation you're at, and it's like, dude, this is like winter range. There has to be animals here and sheds here. So yeah, definitely I feel the more you do it, you get better at it.
And on that winter range, are you noticing specific plant species? Is that a giveaway to you?
Obviously sagebrush. Yeah, like sagebrush, just animals love sagebrush. That's just how it is. Like when you go out to Wyoming, dude, you're finding sheds in a sea of sagebrush in some parts. I also I love to look for mahogany. Mahogany's been a big one. Buckbrush. I have a lot of success in buckbrush. Here on the Wasatch Front, we have the oak brush out here, and that will just beat the crap out of you, but a lot of sheds hide in that oak brush.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I would say there's certain vegetation that I love to look for. Absolutely.
There was a I know this bull scored at like 411, something like that. He was at the Rocky Mountain Elk Foundation banquet in Glenwood Springs, Colorado, because I lived in Western Colorado for a few years, 8 years or so. And I was at that banquet and I was chatting with somebody and a couple of people trying to get like, where'd that bull come from? It was sheds in an area. And I found out I know the basin where that came out of, and I shed hunted that basin.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And because I knew the land manager that worked that piece of state ground, and I knew where that bull kind of was, and he knew about it, and he told me later where that bull came out of. And I think I was on the same year that I hunted it, and I don't know who got there first, but it was before the shed season, but I probably walked around that bull.
Really?
And just a stupid huge bull and it was, we know the score because it was in one of those stupid guessing games where you're guessing that to win a gun at the Rocky Mountain Elk banquet. I was like, oh my gosh, I know exactly where that bull came from. And I had an awesome shed trip that year. I went and picked up in one little trip on one hillside. There's 6 brown elk sheds in there. I was having a riot. That was my best day for the longest time. It was awesome. Had I known there was a set of 411-inch, I wouldn't have known what to do. I was picking up little raghorns, the spikes, I found one nice 5-point, and I was jacked about that. And had I known that was around, I would have lost it. I would have been done right there.
See, and my biggest set is 380. And so
that's huge.
If I ever, don't get me wrong. Yeah. Like I poop my pants,
Yeah.
But it's just that 400. It's like a magical number. And dude, if that ever happens for myself, I might as well just retire, because that will be the pinnacle for me.
Yeah, absolutely.
But let's be honest, I won't retire. I'll just want to go find the next 400-inch bull.
Yeah. And so to keep this your shed hunting going throughout the year, like right now in my terrain, I'd say it's not doable. We are heavy rainfall. We just got 3/4 of an inch just now in the last 4 hours. I don't live in the high desert anymore. I don't have sage brush right around or anything. It's on the Wyoming border, so I know that there is some opportunity. There's still some places where you could hit stuff, but it has to be that deserty stuff, I'm assuming,
absolutely, 100%.
To be able to keep going into the summer and those fall seasons. What is there areas that do have pretty high vegetation growth that you're able to hit? And is it just in that early or springtime, or is there an October, November season that's worth checking those places, or how's that go?
I guess I do that though. There are definitely certain places that I have to hit early, just because, dude, I'm a wuss with certain things. One, I hate hiking in the snow. That drives me nuts. I hate hiking in the snow. And 2, I hate tall vegetation. I hate bugs. I hate mosquitoes. I hate all that stuff. Ticks, get them out of here. But yes, I have spots that I have to hit early because it'll be too tall vegetation. And like I told you, I love to glass. And when the vegetation gets tall enough, you can't glass for anything. You can't see anything. And so that's why I go out to the desert during this time. The bugs aren't as bad, but dude, like you were saying with the moisture this year, I've never seen Nevada this green, because that's where I like to go, is Nevada during the hot parts of the year. I've never seen Nevada have this much vegetation and be this green. And it actually kind of disappointed me too. In the one spot that I love go right now, dude, I can't go right now because it is high vegetation. Yeah. And it's green. It's all over the place. So it kind of shocked me. But yeah, there are definitely places that I have to hit earlier than others.
Yeah. Our prairie is west side of the state is just, this is the most perfect spring for us. Eastern South Dakota, not so much, but Western South Dakota is just getting hammered with weekly rains. It's been 60s, 70s. We're finally hitting some 80s. It's beautiful. It's been an awesome year. And I think a lot of Western states too are going to just have an awesome antler growth year. I think things are going to be good for them for
Absolutely.
sure. So as an antler buyer, that's my business as well, antler buyer, and I buy and sell taxidermy. So I got to ask some questions related to that.
Yeah.
Are you
absolutely.
You keep it all, sell it all?
I definitely sell. Like my wife would kill me if I kept everything. Like even
knowing what it's worth.
Well, and our whole storage unit right now is just full of antlers. And dude, but the market right now is taking a big old
garbage.
Yeah. And so I have honestly held on to everything that I found this year up to this point. But dude, I'm a sucker for character. I love keeping anything with character. Anything that like just gets me going a little bit, I have to keep. But then there's other stuff that I cut into dog chews, which I sell on my website, and like chalks and all that stuff. Or if it's just like a smaller bull, like I've had to kind of give myself a number. Like if it's not 340 plus, like I kind of got to get rid of it unless it has some type of character. And so those usually turn into dog chews, or I'll just sell them. But yeah, I definitely have to sell. Like doing this full time, dude, I can't keep all those antlers. That's ridiculous.
No, and I'm really curious, and I'm sure this will be a shock to a lot of people, because this drop in the market is pretty new. It seemed like right as the season started, the shed season started, that's when prices really started to go. And then there's still a couple little buyers that are in the mix of other buyers. They're like, well, one guy's just going to raise them up just a little bit, and then they're trying to outcompete, but everybody's like, no, dude, drop them. Prices are low. But the reason for that is just everybody's all stockpiled. The big chew companies are stockpiled and loaded up. And there's guys that are turning stuff away. I started turning it a little bit away here and there of just the B grade and the B grade B and deer. I don't want any. Yeah. I'm good.
Yeah.
I'm not going to pay much for it. But chalk always seems to go pretty well for everybody. But how do you think that could change? Or do you think it could change the numbers of people out shed hunting? Do you think there's that many people motivated by the dollar signs behind this? Because when you go from $18 a pound deer, and maybe even that further west, you guys get to hit some of that more $19-20, you get to hit some higher dollars, especially around Jackson Hole area, down to $14 a pound, or like deer, I even hear like $8 a pound on brown deer being thrown around.
Yep.
Or not buying it at all. What do you think's going to happen with that? Like,
I definitely feel the people that are driven by the dollar sign are going to drop out. Like, because that's their motive. Like, they're only going shed hunting because they want to make some extra cash. So those people will definitely drop out. But then you have people like myself. I just love shed hunting, period. So the money doesn't motivate me, honestly. Right. Like the antler itself, because I love that. I mean, before all those other reasons I said it earlier, but I love that each antler is unique to yourself. Only you have that antler. Nobody else on planet Earth has that antler except for you. And I love that aspect about shed hunting. And so I feel the ones that, really just love it for just the exercise or the therapy or whatever, you do it for, those people will still stick around. But I feel the people that are doing it just to make a buck, they're definitely going to drop out.
Okay with me.
Yeah, and I'm cool with that too.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
very cool with that.
I've really kind of bent the ear of a few biologists in our state with don't you mess with my shed hunting. Don't you create a shed season. Just leave it alone. I love hiking in March. And they kind of give me crap of, yeah, it sounds like like a antler buyer talking about something. It's like, no, this is my activity I do with my kids. Like
Mm-hmm.
I do it by myself a lot too, but I'm raising two boys that are gonna be I figure if I can cover just walking 30 yards, I'm covering 90 yards once these boys are growing up.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And
And
it all gets thrown in the same pile.
yeah, yeah. So it's all just about really those. I am definitely just a weekend warrior shed hunter. Go and have a good time with my boys, or go out on my own solo hunt just to hike. For those reasons you just shared. So yeah, I just don't want it to get messed with. That's a hard thing for me to see happen. So, and with that, I know we've got the Utah shed closer due to extreme weather and the health of those animals is one thing. What about where are you at on just shed seasons in general? I mean, let's say you got a real mild winter and Colorado's May 1st. What's your thought on that?
Honestly, I feel if a shed closure is needed, I'm all for it. Like I definitely want the animals to survive. I don't want to be out there pushing them and, making them more vulnerable than they already are. I don't want to see animals just dying all over the place. Absolutely. Like obviously if more animals die, we don't get to pick up those sheds,
Yeah.
And so obviously I feel if the conditions are severe enough that we need a closure, I'm 100% behind that. Now, that's the whole reason why I go to Arizona and New Mexico is because where I go, the winter is not that bad. Like I'm actually usually hunting dry ground when I go to those states, And so for me, it's hard to like have shed seasons every single year. If the winter's not bad, I don't really necessarily think there should be a season. And if you do close off one part of the state, the other state gets hammered. You know what I mean? And the other part of the state gets hammered. And it just brings more people over there. The animals are more pressured on that side, and it just kind of becomes a chaotic little thing. And honestly, I think the whole shed run with Jackson and all that is a joke, dude. Like, yeah, people fighting in parking lots and stuff. Like, I have never done it, nor do I ever want to do that. To me, that doesn't sound fun. Like, no. I love to just be out with my crew and we're doing our thing. That's what I'm about. I love to just go out there. It's not a competition. Just have fun with it. But as far as shed seasons, I'm not like the biggest fan unless we really need them.
Yeah. Running into another boot track or something really kind of takes the winds out of your sails sometime. And
I disagree.
Really?
Doesn't phase me, dude. I've picked up sheds literally a foot away from somebody's boot track before. Like, they don't phase me. I mean, obviously that first instinct when you're like 10 miles in the backcountry and you see a boot print, it's like, son of a bitch. Like, how did they get back here, But at the same time, it's like, dude, they can't find everything. Like, you literally could walk around the next tree and there could be one laying right there. It's all about your lines, your angles, all that. And so I don't let that stuff affect me.
Good. That's good to hear. And I think that's a motivating thing in itself. Cause I did have that backpack trip with my dad this year, and somehow guys got in there a little shorter distance. drove me nuts. I think they got some permission to access something, and it was like a window of, okay, the snow just melted enough. We should be able to find these elk, and it was my good elk spot. And I went in there and didn't find a single elk shed, just a bunch of little 3-point white muleys. And I found that track, and I was like, oh shoot, because the big meadows is where these elk sheds would be at. And I got, that's my desktop picture at work. It's just this big 6-point elk shed in the middle of a big meadow that you could see plain as day for 300 yards. That thing is sticking up out of the grass, the short grass. And so I knew, seeing that boot track, I was like, my big ones, or my ones, are not going to be here out in that open. There's still too much snow in the trees, and it's like, shoot, I don't know where these things are going to be at and whatever else. So but when you talk about picking a line and picking your approach to a hillside, explain that a little bit. What do you mean by picking lines and picking a good micro area? You've already scouted out the area, you know the area you want, but once you're on that ground, what makes 20 yards to the left versus 20 yards to the right any difference? Maybe not 20.
And I mean, yeah, I was gonna say 20 yards really isn't gonna make that big of a difference. But honestly, it's the sign. If I'm not seeing any sign, any poop, any rubs or anything like that, I have to bail areas. I have to be in sign. But I honestly love to get about 3/4 of the way up a mountain so I can still see at the top of the mountain, not necessarily the very top at the peak, but I can still see up to the top and I can see everything else below me. So I'm about 3/4 of the way up and I'm just walking a straight line, honestly, and I'm just side hilling it. And then every like 100 yards, I'm just glassing back. Even the stuff that I've already glassed 10 times, I'm still glassing back because I have a different angle on it. And I just feel glassing is almost like walking a hillside. There's been times that I've glassed up 7 sheds in one spot. Like I've just sat down, I got one over here, over here, over here, over here. And then you just, kind of take pictures and you do little circles and be like, all right, this one's here, this one's here. Because, dude, there's been times that I've glassed something up, made my way all the way down, lost 1,000 feet elevation, gained 1,000 feet of elevation, and now I can't find the shed. I have no idea where it is. So now I like to take a picture of, like, when I know that it's like really thick or something like that, I like to take a picture and try to like pick out like, oh, this is a dead tree. It's going to be next to this thing. And so that way I can kind of navigate where I'm going. But for the most part, I walk straight lines and I'm looking at sign. And then once I finally find something, especially if it's, good size, then I start doing circles. And then like my circles go from like 10 yards around to 20 yards around to 30 yards around. And then I'll get to, a certain point that's like, all right, man, like this is not nearby. Let's go somewhere else, let's keep on our path. And I feel there's usually a vantage point every single time that I sit down. It's like, all right, I want to get to that point. And then you get to that point and then you look down and it's like, all right, I want to get to that point. And then you keep going. But as I'm going to those certain points, I'm just glassing my butt off, checking all the different angles. And there's been plenty of times that I've crossed a hillside and look back on the same hillside that I just crossed and I find the shed. So I'm always just keeping my head on a swivel, glassing a ton. And obviously you want to try to cover as much ground as possible too. So I probably average, like, in more mountainous terrain, I'm anywhere between 9 and 12 miles, but out in the desert, little rolling foothills, I'm like 12 to 15 miles is what I put in. And the most I've ever put in a day was 23 miles.
That's a
day hike.
That's a long day.
That was out in the
hopefully
desert.
Pretty flat.
That was, yeah, well, that's what I was going to say. It was just super flat and just a lot of sage and just threw down some miles that day.
That's awesome. So, trickier question, various answers. We can go however we want with that. But as an antler buyer, I feel like I'm constantly thinking about what positive influence I'm putting or negative influence am I contributing to the crowding? Am I contributing to putting a value on something that's wildlife? But I connect that to trapping as well. Trapping is there's out there there's not a high value, but there's value in furs, and there's money to be made by our natural resources, and this one happens to be living, and we extract other things that are non-living and make money off of that. So as a YouTuber, I'm sure you've had the the conversations with people, and I, are we doing good? Are we what? How do you ground yourself with I'm doing some positive things here because you have a far bigger platform than I do, but even as a small guy, I still have those same thoughts, and my career is in R3, recruitment, retention, reactivation of sportsmen. So that's what I do for a living, and so I constantly thinking about that. How do I'm bringing people in to a sport, but can there be too many sometimes? Or where's your brain sit with that conversation with yourself or with others?
It's funny you say that, because I actually had a guy come up to me. Actually, it was yesterday. I have seen him at the gym multiple times, and he came up to me and he's like, dude, I thought you were a douchebag for commercializing hunting. We had this conversation, but it ended up being like, you're just a genuine dude. Like at the end of the conversation, he's like, I'm going to start following you again, because I had just helped an old lady load ice into her cooler, dude. And he came up and he's like, I was pumping gas. I saw you do this. I've seen you open doors for people at the gym. He's like, I just had to come up and tell you, like, I thought you were a douche, but you're just a genuine guy. So, but going back to your question, bro, I'm never going to get mad at somebody doing something that they love. Like, I invite anybody to shed hunt. Like, it's never going to piss me off to see somebody doing something out in nature, being healthy, being active, doing stuff for their mental health. I'm never going to get mad at somebody for shed hunting and enjoying hunting and enjoying God's creation. Like, that's just not me. I'm never going to get mad at that. Have I had people get pissed that I either gave away a spot or I commercialize hunting and I put a bad name to it and all that? It's like, how am I putting a bad name to it? If anything, I'm like encouraging people to be healthy. Like, and it's something that you can do with your friends. You can do with your family. You can do it solo. You can do it however you want to do it. And I just feel people are going to get pissed over anything anyway. And honestly, dude, people make money doing so many weird things as it is anyway. Like, people get paid to show off their feet, bro. Like, seriously, like, I don't know. That blows my mind. But anyway, I don't feel
not contributing to the better of humanity in any possible way.
Exactly. And so I just feel like if you're out there doing something that you love and you're not, tearing up vegetation, you're not littering the grounds and stuff like that, and you're being respectful, what harm are you really doing? Like, honestly, like, what harm are you really doing? Like, just because you post a video on YouTube and somebody recognizes the spot and they're like, oh, now everybody's gonna know about it. It's like, no, dude, like, nobody knows about it unless you've actually been there. Like, nobody's gonna know. And so I don't know. Like, I'm never going to get mad at people doing what they love. And I don't feel like I am doing a negative thing by sharing my passion, by sharing something that I love, by sharing something that I'm trying to inspire others to live a healthier lifestyle. And, I've taken people out on their very first shed hunt, and dude, there's nothing funner than seeing somebody find their very first shed. And a lot of people sit there and talk crap on shed hunting, and they're just saying, like, how can you just go find participation trophies and da da da? It's like, dude, it's more than that. Like, you're missing it, bro. Like, you're missing it by a lot. Yeah. And so, I don't feel like we're doing any harm. And do you realize how much country there is to hike out there? Like, dude. Yeah. And the shed hunting niche in itself is so small in the grand scheme of things. Hunting is so small in the grand scheme of things. And so I don't know. I do have arguments with people too about, like, where you get your meat from. It's like, dude, I would much rather provide for my family, and, like, let's say the world, like, goes through some weird stuff and we have to defend for ourselves. I am so glad that I am a hunter and I know how to provide for myself and my family. Like, I know how to hunt an animal, how to butcher it, and how to come home and cook it and provide for my family. And people will get mad at you for doing that. And it's like, dude, how's that McDonald's cheeseburger that you're eating? Do you know what they do to the cows? Like, do you know how the livestock actually lives? So for me, unless you experience it and do things for yourself, like you can't really talk crap on it unless
Yeah.
you know what you're really talking about. So
Yeah.
that's my 2 cents. Sorry, I went on a rant there,
No,
but
I
that's my
love it.
2 cents.
I love it. I've over the last couple of years, just as I grow in my career a little bit more, I hear R3 was a newer concept, and then now it's been around long enough. Now you got people starting to turn on it and say maybe getting people into teaching more people is not good. Like, if you heard of any Matt Ranella stuff, that's it. He is a Hunt Quietly podcast. You hear some of that, it's like, okay, let me think about this a little bit. So I've been able to settle in a little bit on where I stand, and even just helping some of my hunters with choosing some tags, and I'm like, I'm hunting that same unit.
Well, I want to know
Cool.
your stance on it. How
Cool.
do you feel about it? Like with this being your profession, how do you feel about it?
Well, it kind of has gone through the crowding. I mean, that the crowding aspect has been a piece to that conversation quite a bit. And I have yet to see, I want to see some data state by state on what our hunter numbers are at. Because I see these numbers of our decline in participation numbers nationwide. And kind of how me and a few other people have hashed this out on this podcast have been seeing that might be true, yes, but now people like you and me are hunting 1, 2, 3 states. We're not like the baby boomers who bought the tag at the convenience store and hunted the little county that they lived in. That was the very common thing. And now our impact of one person can have quite a bit more than what maybe 3 baby boomers would have had. So I don't think we can measure things the same way. And I don't know how to measure that impact on hunters numbers, but we do need more. We do need a bigger community. We need we need people to have that voice to be advocates, whether they are hunters or not. And so when I teach folks, my goals are not just to create a hunter for next year. It is to create an educated person, a person that's an advocate for whatever the state agency does. So if they can walk away and say, I see how they manage deer and elk, I like that. I get it. I understand why you can't just walk into a Walmart and buy a tag like every Eastern state almost. I understand this big complicated draw system that it's a lot of, you've got a canyon over here and the Black Hills over here and the prairie over there. You've got populations that have to manage so totally different. So having those advocates is a big piece to that. And I want to create as many advocates as possible. And I agree. It's hard to take my own piece after you putting a very positive thing that I agree 100% with in my head just right now of seeing people enjoy the outdoors. And I get to be a part of first hunts all the time. I get to be a part of the pictures being sent of I just drew whatever. And I'm jacked for them. Our West River deer season, our November rifle, it's our main rifle hunt. That draw just came out today. And so I put a post on my little my hunters. It's just a small little closed group, and sent a post out to them. And they, I said, hey, what'd you guys get? Share with the group what'd you draw? And then reminded them, hey, this isn't the last draw. Look at antelope season. If you didn't get what you want, how did it go? And I had gotten emails before that just with hey, I drew this unit. Now it's time to start scouting this. That jacks me up. Yeah. So it outweighs the me hiking around and seeing another hunter and saying, I can't go here, can't go there, can't go there, because I get to see the stories later on instead of just an orange vest. So
No, I get you.
If other hunters can see other hunters not just as an orange vest, but you can see like a story behind that, I think you could appreciate it. That's kind of where I'm at.
And I love that you brought that up because, dude, like that's some of my most favorite memories are on the mountain with my family, my dad, my grandpa, like that's what I cherish. Like, and I'll take that to my grave. Like, those are some of my funnest memories. And so I'm glad you brought that up because, yeah, like I can't get mad at people doing something that they love. I just can't.
Yeah, absolutely. No matter how we do it.
Yeah.
In whatever fashion we do it, chasing deer with dogs, whatever, however we do it.
I mean, there's an extent there that, like,
hey,
I guess I'll
somewhere else.
disagree with it.
Yeah. I mean, we don't do it here, but that's,
I think that's the thing is everybody has their own ethics.
Right.
Just because somebody does something one way, like you have the hikers that get pissed off at the people on four-wheelers. You have the guys on four-wheelers getting pissed off at the people flying in airplanes, and searching that way. So it's just like whatever your ethics are, you're always going to have somebody that disagrees with you, however you do things, right. And you're never going to please anybody. I mean, everyone. So I don't know. Yeah. I feel as long as you're respectful and you're doing the right things, that's what it's all about.
Well, I got one more question for you and we'll wrap this up. Rise and Shed. What does that mean? Where'd you get it? Does it have some thought behind it? Love to hear kind of what, and that's almost going backwards. I could have asked that the first question, just maybe what's the philosophy behind your story there?
Honestly, my mother woke us up every day saying rise and shine. And I just turned it into Rise and Shed just because I love shed hunting. Awesome. I hope I didn't disappoint you there with some type of thing, but then my slogan is rise to the occasion and shed self-doubt. And that just means, whatever you're going through, just rise to the occasion, and whatever self-doubt that you had, you throw that out the window and you accomplish whatever you want to do in your life. And so that's what I run with.
Awesome. That's what I wanted to hear. That's good stuff. So, Wes, I would appreciate your time and conversation and ideas and opinions and what you do for getting people excited for the outdoors and in a different way than just a what was the old videos of 20 kills and 30 minutes. Yeah. That's how we used to view our hunting content, because that's all that was out there. So it's great to have a variety of channels to subscribe to on YouTube and get some different content. When I want shed hunting, I go watch shed hunting. When I want to watch some bull hunting, I go watch some elk hunting here and there. So my 5-year-old always has something different he wants to watch every time. And one of the times it was some kind of African hunt, and I was like, buddy, I'm good. It's cool and all, but man, I don't want to watch someone sitting in a blind shooting at a whatever. But it's like, let's watch some mountain goat hunting. Let's watch some this or that. So appreciate what you do, and you're doing good stuff in it. And I love to hear the background behind what people are doing. So appreciate that.
No, thank you, man. I appreciate you having me on.
Yeah, and quick, once you plug Rise and Shed and Hunt Wars, and if somebody wants to get involved with Hunt Wars, that might be a question in future years. What do they got to do?
For Hunt Wars, you just go to huntwars.com. There's an application little box right there. Click it and fill out your application. It's $100 per application, and usually you get to take a buddy, so that's pretty awesome too. For Rise and Shed stuff, I have my website, riseandshed.com. I sell all my merch, shirts, hats, belts, dog chews, and then have my YouTube channel. And yeah, that's about it.
That's awesome. All right. Well, thank you very much. And it's 9:00. It's time to go to bed.
Yes, sir. But thank you, man. I appreciate you having me on. It was a fun conversation. So thank you.
Yeah, you bet. Well, that'll wrap it up. But cool. Hey, South Dakota's got some good shed hunting. So
I've been over in the Black Hills, bro.
Good.
I've done some shed hunting.
I'm sure you have.
Yep.
We've got character in our elk. There's some good character. They're just gorgeous elk. there's gorgeous elk. And
Well,
so,
even for Hunt Wars, we're actually hunting in South Dakota this year.
oh, nice.
Yeah, we're
Nice.
going to be doing mule deer hunt.
Awesome.
So I'll be out that way. You're in Rapid City?
Yeah.
Well,
Yep.
if I ever come through there and stuff, I'll have to give you a
Yep.
shout. Let you know.
Absolutely. Please do look me up. I'll take you out to lunch or man, if it's in the right time of year, I'll go for a hike, do something
Hell
fun.
yeah.
So,
I'm about that.
yeah, that'd be awesome. I don't have great spots, but hey, we'll
Dude,
go for a hike.
Ted, you're just a bonus, bro. I'm out there just to have fun.
I got a spot though that is a heavy glassing spot, and it would be one of those that you walk by a lot of stuff, and it just takes some. It would take some good glass and some patience, and I need someone to teach me to sit and look.
Yeah. Well, I can do that. That's easy.
So, alrighty. Well, I appreciate it, and we'll see you.
Hey, thank you, man. Appreciate you.
You bet.
Got a deed to the land, but it ain't my ground. This is God's country.